Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anu. I'm a holistic mindset and life coach, and I'm here to remind you that you can be, do, and have anything that you want. Recently, I came across a quote on Instagram. I can't remember the author, but the quote said, "It's not your responsibility to heal the toxicity in other people, but it is your responsibility to heal the part of you that relates to that toxicity." And immediately my attention went to something that I've mentioned in all my videos in some shape or form, and that is personal accountability. And I thought I'll take the opportunity and time to address that topic. Now, personal accountability is a very, very powerful tool to have in personal development. It's taking into account and taking responsibility for your life, for your actions, including the ones in the past. And I think this is where we mess up a little bit, and we think that personal accountability is blaming ourselves for the past. Everything that we have encountered in our life, everything from the past, had somehow, in some way or the other, been our creation, been something that we attracted, been something that we've experienced based on our perception, based on our belief system. Now, we can either sit and blame the society, blame external situations, people, circumstances, everything, and say, oh my God, these are all the factors because of which I've suffered in the past. But at the same time, with personal accountability, when you have the capacity to look at that closely and take responsibility of how you participated in it, in that creation, in that experience, you somehow take away the power. So you can take this example, or you can take this experience and say, okay, when I was unaware in my past, and I attracted and experienced all these bad things, which I thought I was suffering because of, if I had the power to create that, now when I'm aware, I can create a better future. That's where your power lies. That's where personal accountability is such an attractive thing to have. I have never come across any person who's not had some sort of suffering from the past, who's always had it good and easy and did not have to experience pain or hurt or grief. And the problem is, most of the times we sit and we marinate in our past. And whenever we marinate in our past, we have all the reasons and all the explanations as to why we are stuck. We are letting the past have the upper hand, and we're letting that dictate our present and also the future. So the way you feel at the moment, at the present moment, is what is going to be your blueprint for your future. If I told you that I feel so bad for all your experiences, and I truly feel that the world has wronged you, that people have wronged you, and you did not deserve all that hate and blame and shame and betrayal in the past, and you trusted people and all you got was hurt, how does that make you feel? Does that make you feel empowered? Does that make you feel, oh my God, I have such a beautiful life? Or if I told you, hey, I am aware that you've had a difficult life, but I'm here to remind you that it does not define you. It does not define who you are. And you have all the capacity. Let me just show you how powerful you are. For that, I will need a little bit of cooperation from your side, where you will have to acknowledge how your thought system, your belief system, your old neural pathways are the ones that made you have this experience in the past. The moment you are aware of it, there's no blame, shame, anything of that sort attached to it. You just have to be aware of it, and you realize, oh my God, now everything makes sense. It makes sense why I had these experiences, why I had to suffer in that way, because this is what I believed about the world. Once you're aware of it, you take your power back, and then we work on ourselves and we say, hey, if I unknowingly, unconsciously, I had all these experiences which left me in pain and misery, once I'm aware of my power, I'm going to change my future. So you take your power back, and then you're accountable for what you experience at the present moment and also in the future. That's the power we all have. It's given to all of us. This realization or this epiphany of being aware of how powerful we are comes sometimes with a side effect of blaming ourselves for what we've experienced. And I am saying that because I had that experience. When I realized how creation works and how reality works and how we are responsible for what we encounter, depending on the lens we wear. And of course, we can sit and blame our society and everything outside of us, but the more you understand this, you realize you are the whole and soul of your experience. You are the lens through which you watch the world, and that's what you experience. That's what you encounter. And that might sometimes come with a side effect of blaming ourselves or feeling bad about it, or, feeling that we've been so stupid and so blind. And this is where I want you to be a little bit gentle with yourself and just take this as a tool. I promise you, when you look back, everything, your failures and all the misfortune that you had and all the bad experiences will have its own purpose. That's where you let go of the past and you let it go with love and peace. Because if all of those events were required for me in order to be here and experience nothing but just peace and love, then it was all worth it. It was all making sense once you realize it. You have to know that your mind is extremely powerful, right? And I have mentioned this in the subconscious mind video, and now I think it's just a couple of months old, but I feel I have evolved since then. Perhaps I do a new video on the subconscious mind, but what I wanted to say is we all have the same capacities. Irrespective of our background and our past, we all have the same capacity to imagine. Your imagination is free. Your imagination is your biggest tool. And if you keep your traumas and your identifications and everything that you associate yourself with, if you can just keep that aside and tap into your higher consciousness, that's all it takes. For that, you will have to be open. There has to be willingness. And this is where the true magic lies. So if you experience nothing but just bad things nonstop, for me, it talks more about your mental state than it talks about your circumstances. It talks more about where you're feeding your energy, where you're feeding your thoughts, where you're feeding your belief system. How are your structured neural pathways? It talks more about that than it talks about your situations or your circumstances. So in order to experience a better life, a fulfilling life, you will have to make the choice to change your story, and nobody can do it but you. What exactly happens when we blame our outside situations or circumstances? When we blame others, we are saying, I'm stuck, I'm suffering because of so reasons. Or most of the times, it's something from the past. It's never at the present moment. It's never at the present moment. We are always suffering from something that happened in the past, something that is not here. When we do that, we lose out on a precious thing called now. Your now is everything that matters. We have all the capacity and the free will to make different choices. The choices that we've made in the past has led us to where we are today. If you're happy and satisfied with that, then you make the same choices. If you are not, then you will have to take personal accountability and say, hey, now I want to be in the driver's seat of my life, and I decide where I go. No one is stopping you from dreaming except yourself. No one is putting limitations on you except yourself. And when you hear this and you say, yes, but my partner does that, and my father does that, and my mother does that, and my brothers do that, and the society is like this, and the building where I live in is like that, and my neighbors are like that, no one can affect you unless you give them the power to affect you. Unless I give you the power to hurt me in the comment section, you can't hurt me. So you can go there and write something rude and bad and mean. But for me to take it to heart, to take it personally, get offended by it, I have to allow that. I'm not saying that I'm going to ignore the comment or I'm not going to have a look at it. I can read it, and I can read it even 20 times, but not feel anything. That doesn't mean that I have to numb my emotions. It just means that I have to stand in my truth. When you stand in your truth, when you stand in your true power, your true essence, you won't budge by what happens outside of you. Some people say it's very stoic. It can be, but for me, it's also just knowing who I am in true consciousness, where I have this openness and I have a lot of empathy that I might even think this person has to be suffering to write a rude comment. Or at the most, I'd feel bad for you. I'll send you peace and love, but you can affect me only if I give you that power to affect me. Personal accountability. The same thing, if somebody would come up to me and say that I'm racist, I would get offended by it only if I would identify with that in some shape or form, maybe to a certain degree. If I have that belief about myself, I will get triggered. I will get offended and I might get defensive about it and prove how I'm not racist. But if I know that I'm not racist, why would someone's comment about me being racist affect me? And if you are vigilant about this one thing, you will see how much you improve as a person, how much you develop as a person. It is such a beautiful trait that whenever you get triggered, personal accountability, instead of blaming and shaming and fighting and defending who you are, ask yourself, why did that affect me? Do I believe that to be true about me? If I don't believe it to be true, why would it even take my attention? It won't. The more you know yourself, the more powerful you are. And when I say know yourself, know your true consciousness. Keep your name, age, gender, religion, society, which country you belong to, and your siblings and your family name and everything. Keep everything aside. Who are you after that? Keep all your identifications aside, your past, your traumas, whatever labels you have from the society. Keep it all aside. Who are you after that? Who exactly is listening to my voice? That is your true power. Your true consciousness does not identify with any of these labels. You can get to that point only through personal accountability. When you ask the right questions, you take responsibility for your life. Another thing that happens when you start taking responsibility for your life is you will render all your external circumstances and people and events and everything powerless. What's more to do when I take responsibility of whatever I have experienced in the past, good, bad, ugly, I take accountability, I take responsibility for it. What after that? How can somebody affect me then? How can somebody come and tell me, oh, but this happened to you in the past and people have wronged you? Okay, but it's the past. I know how brain works. I know how the mind works. I know how I have encountered those situations. Maybe I was not born like that, but it happened. And what can I do about it? Learn how powerful you are. Understand how powerful you are. Remember how powerful you are. And you will see how all your difficulties, your challenges, your triggers, they just dissolve. You are much more powerful than all these situations. You are much more powerful. Your mind is so creative, And our human consciousness is so much powerful. When you talk about manifestation, law of attraction, it's not the techniques that work. It's you that works. It's just that. And sadly, we are trained to believe that achieving our dreams and goals is a very difficult task. If somebody told you it's just as simple as, knowing that you have it and that's it, and just live in that, just embody that, you would think it's stupid because it cannot be possible. You have to have trials and tribulations and fight for what you want and struggle for your dreams. Because we have been conditioned like that. We have been conditioned in such subtle ways that we're not even aware of. And these are like different layers that keep shedding one at a time once you become aware of yourself. The moment you take responsibility of your life, you know you are the only opponent power in your life. Everything else will become like a drama that you watch. You don't get involved in that drama. You are now the spectator in your own life. You go about, you experience few things. You don't take it personally because you know you're the observer. You are just observing it. If you are late, let's say for a meeting, you are aware that you're late. You are aware that, hey, I should have left 10 minutes early, or I should have done this to be on time. You enter the meeting room. The first thing you do is you apologize. I'm sorry, I should have calculated this better. This won't happen next time. Personal accountability. Or what you do, you arrive and you say, oh my God, the traffic was terrible. And then this happened. And this is the person because of whom I got late. And this is the situation because of whom I got late. You don't take the responsibility and you blame everything and everyone outside of you. How does that make you come across as a person in a meeting where people have been waiting for you? And of course, I'm not saying that you have to blame yourself for it, but do you see the difference? The moment you start getting defensive and protective and fight for what's happened, why do we want to do that? There's so much ego attachment. We train our egos more and more. We polish our egos in our society, our day and age. As more we progress, the more we get into training our ego. The more we are doing that, look at the media these days, look at the news. It's all about dividing. It's all about how I am better and how I am oppressed and how I am a victim. Do you think that's empowering you? Do you think it's empowering when people come and tell you, oh, I'm so sorry you had to experience that? How does that make you feel powerful? And I'm telling you, I can't think of one person, irrespective in which situation you are, I cannot think of one person who is denied free will, who is denied of higher levels of consciousness, access to higher levels of consciousness. And if you think it's unfortunate to suffer, I think the people who suffer are much closer to finding the truth. Because when you suffer, it compels you to question your life. And it compels you to ask the right questions. And most of the times, these questions, irrespective in which direction you take, they all somehow point towards you. Then it's like the north of a compass. It's always going to be you. Because this here, each and every one of us, that's the whole and soul of our existence and the whole and soul of our life, no matter which age, gender, race, creed, whatever. If I have not experienced happiness in my life, if everything has been misfortunate, I'll make sure that I make better choices. I'll make sure that I put better awareness and better attention to all the things that I desire and not the ones that I don't want. If I want to make a list of my dream life, I'm going to make a list of everything that's beautiful, everything that I want to experience. And I'm not going to say, this is what I don't want and that is what I don't want. No. It means you're still stuck in your past. You're operating from your past experience, from your hurt, blame, shame, traumas, however you want to call it. if you operate from that place, you will experience the same thing again. And you'll again go out blaming people and society, but not taking personal accountability. So I think that's the video for today about personal accountability. The video is getting a bit long, so I'm going to end it on this note. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and follow me on other social media handles. I'm active even on Instagram, and do check my website for all the details about coaching. I will see you all soon in a new video. Sending you lots of love. Bye.